I've been away from Battlefield for a bit, maybe subconsciously to try and avoid the chaos, but when it comes down to it, Battlefield has been a part of my gaming life for nearly 2 decades, so I find it hard to just put down and walk away. What's going on, everybody? My name is LtBuzzLitebeer, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be covering a huge range of topics surrounding Battlefield, some of them 2042 specific, while this last one I'm going to discuss is not. Really quickly, before we begin, I wanted to thank you all for the support. The channel has been steadily climbing upwards, and my personal goal of 100,000 subscribers is nearly in sight. In case you aren't yet a sub, please smash that big, beautiful subscribe button, and make sure to ring the bell to receive all my future upload alerts. Let's get this one rolling, starting off with Battlefield 2042, and we recently got to see the DICE dev update video where they kind of laid out their vision for 2042 moving forwards. Now, included with all of this was the first roadmap, or at least the first real roadmap I can remember. Included with Season 1, expect a new map, new specialist, new weapons, vehicles, and the Battle Pass. The redesign of the Kaleidoscope map is also expected, converting it over from something ripped from Hyperscape over to Battlefield, or at least it kind of looks like a Battlefield-esque map. 2042 still runs like ass for me on PC, so I've been avoiding it, but I am in the camp of players that likes the changes moving Breakthrough over to 64 players. 128 player servers just ran terribly, and between the constant frame drops, invisible players, and just sheer chaos of it all, it really pulled down on the overall experience. Now, in theory, if the maps were truly designed for it, if the game performance wasn't hampered, if the vehicles were balanced, and I've got a whole list of ifs, but if this was all working properly, I could see 128 player servers really being the hallmark for 2042. Unfortunately, it just wasn't able to check enough boxes to keep that mode intact. Now, the problem lies in that by moving Breakthrough over to 64 players, they are still being waged on 128 player maps. So the sheer size of the whole thing, along with vehicle spawn numbers not being adjusted down, has presented a whole new series of problems. Now, the combat pacing has slowed dramatically, and the vehicles have been made even more devastating because now there's less troops trying to fight them off. New weapons coming to the game is far overdue, as well as new content, which overall I find a bit odd considering that this game is marketed as a live service game, just one that doesn't get live service updates. One item that I found just mind-blowing from this whole dev presentation was not the fact that Hazard Zone is no longer going to be receiving new content. No. What really caught my attention was the developer comments surrounding Hazard Zone and how it didn't pan out. The mere fact that they said, quote, "We're the first to hold our hands up and acknowledge that it hasn't found the right home in Battlefield 2042 was just sheer ironic, because, and don't take this as I'm dunking on the game, but the developers' hands should have been going up constantly in the years of development cycles leading up to the release of this game. Specialist, no campaign, which if you remember was nixed for Hazard Zone, cringy voice lines, throttled PC performance, flat, uninteresting maps. I mean, their arms should have been freaking sore with all the hand raising. Looking back on it all, the only time it looks like the hand raising actually worked was the shift from their original vision of an all-out hero shooter over to what the game now exists as. Anyways, I'm sure you've seen more Johnny-on-the-spot 2042 videos and dedicated channels breaking the news the very second it comes out. But before I move on to other Battlefield subjects, I did want to again show you this artwork from the EA Investors Call packet. And FYI, I've attended the last 2 quarterly calls. Now, both times, Battlefield 5, not 2042, have been present on the EA portfolio of live services press splash, which again is baffling to me and leads me to the assumption that even EA can't wait for this adventure to end. And just me making a prediction here, but from a sheer cost analysis perspective, I can't see EA continuing to shell out the development cost on the redesigns for 2042. The player counts just aren't there to support it. 2042 has become a bigger meme than Cyberpunk 2077, and that bar was set extremely high after that failed launch. And as they say, you only get one chance to make a good first impression, of which EA and DICE both missed the boat. Let me know in the comment section below if you think DICE's continued work and Season 1 content will be enough to bring you back to the game. Do you think the player counts will ever return, or do you see another Battlefield 5, Battlefront 2, Anthem on our hands? And also, how about a thumbs up on today's video? I think I kept it pretty civil reporting on 2042, and it took a bit of restraint, but I think it came off well.
Mission accomplished. Good work.
Okay, so on to my final Battlefield topic for today, and this one is going to ruffle a few feathers, as it has to do with cheaters, cheating, and we could just limit the discussion to Battlefield, but this one also extends out to just competitive online shooters in general. And I get this question about sus players, aim bots, cheating, etc., but I only ever see this topic raised in private channels, because discussing cheating is not considered taboo, but zeroing in on specific players, their past actions, evidence of them cheating, now that is still a touchy subject. These days, when I am able to play, using BF1 as an example, I tend to stay in clan servers as they have admins on duty, and in general, I don't see players attempting to use blatant hacks or cheats in these lobbies. Official EA servers, both in BF1 and BF5, are ripe with blatant hackers, and when I say blatant, I'm referring to a player who is invisible with 200% damage active using an aimbot, ESP, and can super spot players across the map. Anyways, back to the heart of the topic, and the question was raised to me privately, and I felt like responding back publicly because this makes for a great discussion. Do I think cheating and using cheats is prevalent in Battlefield? Now, my short answer is yes. And I would go a step further in stating that I think it is way more prevalent than anyone suspects. And before we go any further, I am specifically going to be commenting about PC, because console has its own set of issues with things like Chronos Max, but PC cheating is in a league of its own. Now, back in my more competitive days, I had really good aim. And that's kind of left me to some degree as I've gotten older, but you know, back in the day, I could consistently hit what I was aiming at. Now, great aim comes down to a couple of factors, or at least I think it does. Number one is just sheer God-given talent, superb hand-eye coordination, reflexes, and with that, the ability to channel all that talent through a mouse and keyboard or controller. And the other factor, number two, is just time spent in the game. No way around it. To be better at a game, you've got to grind. And that's where you start to get the feel for distances, map routes, advantageous positioning, how much to lead your shots, how to adjust for bullet drop. You get what I'm saying, and back to my point, that takes time to set into muscle memory. Now, over my nearly 2 decades of time spent in Battlefield, I've seen everything imaginable. I've personally nailed some shots that were 1 in a million. I anticipated a soldier's movement and fired off a shot that hit them just as they cleared cover. Now, more often than not, that shot doesn't connect, but every now and then it does, and it just feels fucking awesome. But what I see these days, even in non-sweaty public lobbies, has me doubting the validity of the whole damn online gaming scene. Again, for the record, do I think cheating and using cheats is in Battlefield? To which I emphatically answered yes, and then elaborated that I feel it is way more prevalent than anyone suspects. And just to drill down into this a bit more, I personally don't think most cheaters are using the full volley or spectrum of cheats available to them. Not every cheater cheats as blatantly as that example I gave you earlier. No, if I were a betting man, I would say that ESP, aka wall hacks, is the most popular cheat used these days. Seeing players through cover and knowing exactly where to be aiming as the player breaks cover is an extremely advantageous piece of intel to have. Now, when I see something that strikes me as sus, I'm the type of player that will drop from the live server and enter to watch this player in spectator mode, and trust me, this is where you can normally find the truth for yourself. Now, even though you won't be able to see the telltale boxes highlighting enemy players in spectator mode, you do see some wild snapping to targets behind cover. Or you've got this suspect player, they run into a building, and despite the building taking incoming tank fire and it's burning and rubble's coming down all around them, despite this player needing a few moments for the screen adjust from the bright exterior lighting to the darker interior lighting, despite the fact that there are like 12 different items of cover an enemy can hide behind, and there's like 6 different entrances into the building that all needed to be scanned, despite all of this, this player runs full speed into this burning building and immediately aims at that one piece of cover with this player crouching behind it and blasts them straight in the head. And as you watch this suspect player, it happens time and time again. So, one of 3 things is happening here. 1, they are the luckiest SOB to walk planet Earth. 2, they have the fastest reflexes known to mankind. Or 3, probably the most obvious one, they are cheating and they're using wall hacks. I personally try to give my fellow players the benefit of the doubt. Hell, I've fired off a small rocket at the beginning of a BF4 round just randomly aimed up at the clouds, and I've hit a chopper. That's sheer luck. But having the ability to see your targets through cover and blast them time and time again is quite the opposite. Now, after wall hacks, I would think that aimbots are probably the second most prevalent cheat. And don't get me wrong, I don't think every cheater is blatant about it. In fact, I think the majority of those that do use software have it tuned to like medium settings because they're not stupid. They don't want to stand out and they don't want to get caught, at least not caught red-handed. But just because they're not running the software at its max settings doesn't mean they're any less guilty. Just stepping back from this cheater discussion, I think this is the culture of modern gaming that contributes to this need to want to excel. And as they say, if you can't beat them, join them. There is uber pressure to stand out, to get your channel noticed, to get noticed in the Twitch directory, on Facebook Gaming, or over on the YouTube live streams, because more viewers equals more dollars. And once you've got a small cross-section of the player base using these gaming PEDs, then the regular players, who are now just getting plowed over and farmed, feel that they have to use these things in order to compete, and this vicious cycle begins. Now, I'm not here to start pointing the finger and saying this person or that person is using cheats. That's not what this video is all about. All I am doing is stating that I think cheating is far more prevalent in online gaming than anyone truly understands. And if you want to see for yourself, you know, section off and spend a block of time in Battlefield or COD Warzone spectator mode, you will be shocked. T-Back Epic Gaming has done some great videos where he jumps into spectator mode and shows you just how truly bad the cheater epidemic is. But beyond those blatant cheaters, which are easy to identify, there are far more players out there just using this stuff, trying to compete. Kind of wild topic for today, I know, and I look forward to reading any of your comments on this one. 2042, the future of Battlefield, and anything cheater related are the talking points for today. And please, let's keep it civil. I respectfully ask that no specific players be named in the comments. This video was not about outing or exposing this person or that one, just the cheating topic in general. Make sure to smash that sub button and ring the bell to receive all my future upload alerts. If you could rate and or share this video, it would be appreciated. You can find and follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and over on my community Discord server. Links to all of my socials in the video description below. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.